grew up in Hyderabad. I was born and brought up in Hyderabad, and my early influences were my mother, my father, my brothers, and in our family, my paternal side, I have five aunts, of whom one is a researcher, two are doctors by profession, and one is a school principal, and the fifth one is a banker. So they also played a very important role in shaping my views and my career choices. And my mother was herself a working professional. She was working for the government of Andhra Pradesh. Then it was together, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh were together. And my father was in LIC. He used to travel all over South India, so going with him and traveling along with him to those places, that also shaped my early childhood. I basically I'm a chemical engineer by profession. We have an entrance exam which we write after 12th. I got into NIT Durgapur then, but because I was in Hyderabad and it was geographically quite far away from my hometown, my parents and me, we decided that it is better I join in Hyderabad itself. So I joined a government college in the university campus. I opted for civil engineering instead of the chemical engineering. I got an NIT Durgapur. So I was very passionate about chemistry and the applied chemistry part of it. So the first year I worked very hard. I stood in the top 1% of the college, and I got a transfer to chemical engineering, which was my first choice. So that is one story of mine where I could make the transition from civil engineering to chemical engineering. And teachers at college, I was in an illustrious school called Hyderabad Public School. My peers there, my teachers there, my friends there, they all shaped my memories and my growth in or my journey towards chemistry or applied chemistry, and finally towards chemical engineering. See, in the labs that we had in 10th and 12th, I could make out. Even in 10th, I was very good at academics and a sports enthusiast also. And initially in my 10th and 11th, 12th grade, I was very good at the labs in chemistry. And the applications of it really fueled my interest. And my teachers also used to encourage me in that direction. They gave me that confidence that I'm good at that subject, and the applications part of it especially, like in terms of the laboratory work or reading more about it, what it could do. See, when I joined chemical engineering per se, I was sure I wanted to become an engineer, and chemistry or the applications of chemistry kind of, was very I was enthralled by both of them, the combination of chemistry, its applications, and engineering. So put together, I joined chemical engineering, and that's how my interest in it evolved. Okay, right now, there is a big team of us researchers in BARC, and especially the Beam Technology Development Group, where we are working for targets. To put it very simply, it is used, whatever work we are doing has a great application in nuclear medicine. So these targets till now were being imported from other countries in the world, and we were utilizing them. So now we have developed the technology and we have started making these targets in India. So I am responsible for one part of, after the target is prepared, to recover it and to finally take it to utilization. That part of it, I lead a team of people who we are all working on this work, and it is important in the radiopharmaceutical applications. And the second thing is, I am also involved in some environmental applications and development of processes for environmental sustainable technologies for eco disposal of some pollutants or effluents. And I'm also involved in materials. I have a interest, and I am working on materials for nuclear technology and nuclear science and technology. That is another area of work. And early on in my career, I have worked on a rare material which is slightly radioactive by nature, that is called protractinium 231, which to recover that. I developed a process along with a team of senior people to recover it to a milligram of it. We process tons. So to take that process from lab scale, from a small burette kind of thing, to take it to a large process vessel, that whole journey we did it in a very short span. And that journey from the lab, which is chemistry or applied chemistry, and the gamut to chemical engineering, which is on a in a big process scale, which involves scale up. I have seen all stages of it in that particular experience. So these are some of the areas where I have contributed immensely. See, this radiopharmaceutical is has a direct impact. It has a societal implication that we are able to make these this nuclear medicine or its precursors to the nuclear medicine here in India has a direct societal application, and that is what makes us feel proud that we have given this, and our work has helped in this bit, doing our bit for the society. This is our bit in terms of science and S&T, science and technology, currently. Challenges were many, like the projects in our research center, which I have been associated, some were very short term. So when I joined initially, I was given small assignments and they were short term. So there was a sense of achievement. But as I grew senior in the organization, the targets became bigger and the milestones took longer to achieve. And the intermediate steps, so many deterrents in terms of not getting the material you require, or some design you have made, it takes longer to get it done. Whatever you have envisioned, to get it into a physical reality, the time it takes, and then to have the patience to persevere it from imagining it to making a physical model, making that plant or that facility or that subsystem really stand up and see that it is working, functional, commissioned, installed. That was a little long, and that kind of had its own hiccups. Talking to people, convincing them that you need it and need it in time, and managing the project management part of it. These were some of the things. As far as the lab scale things are concerned, where the applied chemistry part or the development or the research part is concerned, where you have things more under your control, you could, if it is just we I always worked in smaller teams where the R&D was concerned. So there it was like, yes, there were challenges, but they were more to do, more solvable in the sense, it involved a small group of people. But when we went to bigger plants, or when we had to scale it up to a bigger scale, then you had more people involved in the project, and to manage the coordination that was required between teams, that was more challenging. So I'll give a small example. Like when I joined BRC as soon as I finished my chemical engineering. I got out of college and I joined Bhabha Atomic Research Center. There we had a 1 year orientation course, which was in house, and I had 100 colleagues along with me who joined along with me in my batch. Sorry. That is where the senior researchers of BRC come and teach us in that orientation program, and they sowed the seeds of this research, this engineering, nuclear science and technology into our young minds. That is when we learned the ropes of, it is not that we became experts, but the ropes of what nuclear science and technology is all about. Then a year after that, I joined the regular employment. I started my research and I immediately got married. So, and I had kids also pretty quickly. So that is when the real challenge started. My husband also is a chemical engineer. So both of us managing our twin responsibilities of careers and having kids, young kids, and managing the careers. I mean, R&D is not a 9 to 5 job. So you keep thinking about your problem. It's not as if I shut out my brain when I cross my office. I come back, even when I'm cooking, I'm tending to my children, I'm thinking what could be the solution to this problem that I'm facing at work. So that was the kind of challenge. So Here the role model part I want to bring out is, there was one doctor in the Trombay Council, that is the decision making body. There was only one lady at that time, Dr. Matthew, Dr. Samuel, Dr. Samuel. So I went and I met her sometime in the corridor, and I expressed, Madam, the biggest challenge that we face is there is no organized daycare for our kids. So even when we are working in the center, there is a need for this, and our mind is half there as whether our kids are properly taken care of. She really listened to us, and she told us, why don't you visit a few daycare centers or creches that are available. Then Bhabha Atomic Research Center is just next to TIS. So we visited the daycare in TIS, which was a smaller scale, and I also went to NFC Creche, which was there. Then we approached the authorities of BRC. That a team of us pulled together, and we approached BRC authorities. We want a daycare, a world class daycare, because we deserve it, and that will help us do our research well. And within a year, I mean, at that time Dr. Kakotkar was there, and my superior, Dr. Gantayat, these people all encouraged us. And they also felt that if we had this kind of facility, our output would definitely increase. So I'm happy that I had some part to play, and I sowed the seed of that daycare. And after that, Kilville, a daycare for 300 kids, was built in BRC, and the building was architected and built only for children as a daycare facility for the entire BRC organization. So that is one thing that, I mean, this center listens to you. And when you come up with a problem, it solves it. Yes, government, it's a huge machinery to move. But when you have the resolve, you can move the machinery and you can get things done. This is one of my lessons I have learned. And when you have the resolve, when you team up people, the right kind of people, when you approach and go with the right approach and the positivity, then people will help, people will come forward, and the solution will emerge. This is one challenge which I could circumvent. And it is not me, it is all of us, in all the ladies in BRC, and even the men are using the daycare. Why only the ladies? Even the men who have wives, who are working, they are also using the daycare. So it was for all the working, to twin working people. Yeah. Before that, I would like to say here that our current group director, Dr. Archana Sharma, she herself is a part of the She in 75 Women in STEM. She's such a positive person, and she is one motivating factor, and she's somebody who we all look up to, because she's positive, she has that never say die attitude, and she's so enthusiastic. She is always enthusiastic and positive in her approach to problems, to challenges, to anything come what may. She has that positive and sportsman kind of spirit. That is one. And the mentoring part which you asked me, wherever I have come across women or men equally, why only women, men or women, people who are working with me, I think I do even with my own sons. See, first is that with my sons, my attempt is to sensitize them to the needs of women, and tell them that these two genders are different but equal in their own way, and we have different things to bring together to the plate, and working together we make a good team. That I have always, by way of example and by way of otherwise, by telling them many times, I think I have been able to do my part in that. And also I have created, coming starting from home, I think I have created a very harmonious atmosphere for my domestic help to work with. I have helped in educating their children. And my mother, at the age of 58, she had started a daycare with 15 women, 15 women, after her retirement, to take care of this problem. So those people's children's education, sometime I have kind of paid for that, or help them educate their kids. So that way I have contributed my bit to the thing. And at office, at work, say in small teams, wherever I could, I think I have told women that you're good at your work. I find that we don't, in meetings or in places where we are not vocal enough about our work. We do good work, but we feel that it is just not enough, and we are not as confident as we should be. Like, I have seen lot of podcasts by Indra Nui. So she says that even when we sit, our gestures, the way we sit, our body language, we need to improve. We don't take the center chair. So these are some of the small things that I have listened to, and I have understood, and I have conveyed. And it is just not this deep, it is deeper than that. Wherever I have met women and I've seen that their work counts, I have genuinely appreciated them and tried to mentor them and told them to be more vocal about their work, talk about it, think of it as an achievement, that kind of thing. See, the sustainability part of it, I think, is twofold. One is the mental part of it, or and the other is the physical part of it. Unless both of them gel together and vibe together well together, we cannot have a holistic living. So that is what I believe in, that mental and physical balance in life is very important. So that is what I have tried to do, that build a good balance of these two, the mental aspect and the physical aspect, and that leads to a sustainable and a balanced life. Yes, the stress, the pressure is more, so wherever it was there, I have tried to co-opt people in terms of my family, which has been my greatest anchor. My family, my friends, my peers, I have got support from so many corners. Today when I sit here and talk about my achievements or my journey, there's so much of contribution from so many corners, including, like I mentioned, my family, my peers, my friends, my colleagues. And there was a big there were so many people who had contributed to this success of mine, or to me being where I am, having reached somewhere. I think I'm grateful to a lot of people, and that is what I want to say here. Here, I would like to say that research, as I mentioned earlier, is not a 9 to 5 job. So this is my mantra, that I am still learning. I'm still a student. I'm still learning in life. So that is a good recipe for further success. This is what I believe. I would have given myself this advice, that follow your dreams fearlessly. Not that I was not fearless, but more fearlessly. And don't take the beaten track. There is a road ahead. Have hope. There is a road ahead. And venture into that road. You'll find there will be some new things to invent or discover. To some extent, I still have some regrets. So there are some regrets in life, which is but natural. But yes, I should have been more fearless. My choices could have been much bolder than what I have made, and I could have taken the less trodden path. I could have been more fearless in life. See, as I see now, compared to where I was and the generation now is, I think girls have changed. There is a change. There is no doubt about it. The girls of today are much more assertive. They are much more confident, and they make choices which, based on what they think is right for them. We were more fearful. We didn't have that kind of courage as this generation of girls do. That is my take on this. And the second is STEM is something that, I mean, like I have said, I am working on a societal application. So like BRC also has this outreach program, and nowadays young scientists from BRC are going to schools and colleges in all over India, in the nook and corners of India, and telling them about the work we do. reaching out to the students young at age and telling them about what BRC does, what is nuclear science all about, and in fact encouraging them in a general way about why STEM is important and why they should join STEM. So that is one initiative which I think is a must and it is required. Now, the girl child. So the girl child in general falls into this, but it is, if you educate one mother or one girl in the house, the whole family brightens, or the future of that whole family is taken care of. That is what my take is. So yes, what I just quoted that BRC is doing, or we are doing from BRC, is a part of it, but more work needs to be done to reach out to those girl children, so that if one girl child is educated, that whole family of 4, 5, 6, the whole family becomes more developed, and she is able to take care of that entire family in a more informed manner and in a more better manner. My never say give up attitude, never give up attitude, and my persistent approach to things. I'm pretty persistent, and reaching here, and being having got this honor, I'm very thankful to your organization, to the government of India, and the Royal Society of Chemistry for choosing me for this honor, though I am not a chemist, considering me for this award and making me part of this list. I really feel honored and proud to be part of this uh, mm, list of women who have achieved this. Thank you very much.